Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Louie T Live preseason week number 3 here on the Louie T Network. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be watching one of the final preseason games in week number 3, the dress rehearsal week, if you will. Bills hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the penultimate game of week 3 of the preseason. Tonight will end week 3 of the preseason with the Arizona Cardinals hosting the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. So before we get to that, we'll break this game down here and watch this one live. And the big thing here, obviously, before we get started with this game, is the Bills starting rookie quarterback, Josh Allen, in this game. And this will be the first time he started all preseason long, and it just so happens it's the most important preseason game of them all. So in that respect, it allowed a lot of people to start to wonder, is this a sign of things to come for the Bills quarterback position in 2018 to start off the season? Is this a precursor to Allen getting the nod over A.J. McCarron and Nathan Peterman as the starter for the Bills going into the 2018 NFL regular season? We don't really know the answer to that right now. This could have been pre-arranged before the preseason got underway that, hey, we're going to give Nathan the first start, we're going to give AJ the second start, and we're going to give Josh the third start. We don't know how this was configured by the Bills going into the preseason. All we know is that Josh Allen is starting the third and most important preseason game. And so, yeah, we're reading into it a little bit. And because of the injury to A.J. McCarron, who I think the Bills really wanted to wrestle that job away from the other two and kind of take control of that quarterback situation, he got injured in the second preseason game versus the Cleveland Browns. The injury doesn't seem to be as serious as we first thought. The initial reports was a cracked collarbone. That's not the case, but because of the injury, he's not getting the reps that he's needing to get in this situation to maybe take a step in front of the other two quarterbacks. And so I think right now this thing is wide open. And if Josh Allen goes out and balls today, we could be seeing the makings of the next quarterback to start the season off for the Buffalo Bills. And maybe the Josh Allen era in Buffalo begins in week number 1. And so we're going to see. This is going to go a long way in determining that. And I think if he can go out and have himself a whale of a week against Cincinnati, and this is a really solid Cincinnati Bengals defense, if he can go out, have himself a good week, then you feel kind of a little shaky about potentially sending him out there on the road versus Baltimore. But, you know, if this is your guy and you have confidence in him, then you send him out there on the road versus the Baltimore Ravens, and you see if he can't go get you a W. And so I remember very vividly, I think it was 2 years ago, it could have even been last year, but I remember the Bills going to Baltimore early in the season, might have even been week 1, and it was a lackluster game. I think it could have been one of those 13-7 type of games where it was not a lot of scoring, not a lot of offense, and the Ravens somehow came out of there with the W. It was not pretty, but it was gritty, and it was a dub. This could be another one of those types of situations. Maybe you have more firepower this time around. We'll see. But and nonetheless, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, on the flip side of things, what you're looking to do is sharpen the tools, get everything kind of fine-tuned, because I really think this is going to be a tremendous bounce-back season for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're locked, they're stocked, they're chocked, full of talent. They're ready to go. And if Andy Dalton is healthy and if he can perform at a high level, they've got weapons all around him. If they can stay healthy at the receiver position, they've got some young guys that they're ready to maybe see take that next step. Obviously, they drafted John Ross last year, had an injury-filled rookie season. If he can stay healthy, he may be able to provide a little bit of yin to the yang that is A.J. Green. It's A.J. Green. My man, A.J. Green, one of the best in the business at the receiver position. Needs some help, though, and you're hoping some of these young guys that they've been looking to, Tyler Boyd and Josh Malone and all of these other guys that they've drafted over the years, can start to really take shape and give some help to A.J. Green and company. The tight end position, always a surplus of riches for the Cincinnati Bengals. But obviously, the best of the bunch is Tyler Eifert. If he's healthy, this offense is usually much, much better. And then the running back position is loaded with Joe Mixon being the guy that is the alpha male in that backfield. But don't forget about Giovanni Bernard and company. There's a lot to like with this Cincinnati Bengals football team. And I really feel like if they're healthy, they can do some good things on offense. The defense is usually just solid. It's never great. It's usually just solid. And I think they've got a chance to do that yet again in 2018. So this is a fun game because of the dynamic between the two teams. Remember, Cincinnati beat Baltimore in the final stages of the game last year in Week 17 to give the Bills their first playoff nod since 1999. And so I watched the pregame for this preseason game, and the Bills fans gave Andy Dalton one hell of a rousing ovation. And hell, they gave him more love than sometimes he gets in Cincinnati for what he was able to do in helping them win in Week 17 and get the Bills into the playoffs. So sort of a little extra storyline there. But again, once the ball is kicked off, no one is going to give a shit about Andy Dalton and what he did for this Bills team getting into the postseason last year. But in any event, we're set for kickoff. Bills and Bengals. We'll see what Josh Allen is able to do. We'll see who gets the football first. And for the Bills, I'm going to also be paying attention to the I want to see some of these skill guys, because right now I question a lot of the skill players that they're putting on the football field. They don't have much after Shady McCoy and Kelvin Benjamin and Charles Clay. And so I want to see if some other guys can emerge to kind of help take some of the pressure off of not only the young quarterback Josh Allen and Kelvin Benjamin, but the run game, which I think is going to need some help from these skill guys to make plays. Because right now, if I'm a team going up against Buffalo, I'm going to make sure that Shady McCoy isn't an X factor. I'm going to take him away and force whomever is at quarterback, whether it's the rookie Josh Allen, second-year man Nathan Peterman, or A.J. McCarron. I really could care less who it is. I'm going to make sure that that guy doesn't beat me. I'm going to make sure that that guy is going to have to beat me. So I'm anxious to see if the Bills are going to have some other guys be able to step up and give them some production. And A.J. McCarron, I don't know if he's playing today or not. I guess we'll find out together. But if he is, in fact, playing, he'll be going up against his ex-team. So, like I said, number of different storylines in this game, but none bigger than Josh Allen getting the start. And he's going to start off this game first, as Cincinnati will be kicking off. So we're going to see this Bills offense led by Josh Allen as the starter first up on the field. And we'll see if he can get something going, take this team down the field, and potentially give himself a leg up in the competition to potentially be the starter opening week at Baltimore for this Bills football team. So we're off with the kickoff, and we'll see what happens. That one's probably going to be a touchback. So Bills will start it off 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Here comes Josh Allen, you know, a guy that I was extremely high on. Still don't think he's ready to play. I've made this clearly apparent. Whether it's the AFC East breakdown that we did with the predictions and the preview for the season, or it's his draft prospects 101 series that I did breakdown of him. I made it abundantly clear that I don't think he is ready to start week 1, but he's going to see. We're going to see right now if he's ready to take that step or not. So no Shady McCoy today. Allen to throw, and got to catch that. Charles Clay right in his hands on 1st down on a little outcut, trying to get Josh Allen comfortable out of the shotgun. 5-yard outcut, and Charles Clay just simply had to go off his hands. Boy, does that football come out of his hands with some velocity or what. So 2nd and 10 after the drop by Charles Clay. This is probably going to be a run. They're in the single back right now. Motion, Say Jones in motion, and they faked the handoff, and he's going to throw it to Say Jones, who came back across the formation, and you're probably going to get 3 on that. So you're probably going to set up a situation where you're in a 3rd and 7, and we need to see big things from Zay Jones this year. I'm looking for a huge step in production from Zay Jones, man. I'm hoping that, because I was high on Zay Jones coming out of East Carolina, man. I think this guy has tremendous hands, and I told you last year when he was drafted, Zay Jones is a number 2 receiver in this league. And now that they have Kelvin Benjamin, I think that's going to allow him to just go into that number 2 role comfortably and not have to be the guy. When they drafted him, they didn't have really anything else in Buffalo, and so he was looked upon as a savior of sorts at the receiver position. That's not what Zay Jones is, but now that they've got a number 1 in Benjamin, I'm hoping that this will help. But they come with pressure to Cincinnati, and they wrestle Josh Allen down to the turf, but there's a penalty flag on the play, and I think it's going to be offsides. So we're going to see what the call is. I really believe that's going to be offsides. That penalty flag, either it's going to be a legal formation or it's going to be offsides. See what they're going to call. A legal shift. So it's on Buffalo, so that's going to force a punt. So not a great start for Josh Allen in the Bills offense. 3 and out. Very ominous start, but I told you this Cincinnati Bengals defense has a chance to be really dangerous. They're an average defense with the opportunity to really be dangerous because they've got a lot of talent on that side of the football. Great catch by John Ross on the punt. It's probably saved his team an additional 15 to 20 yards. You know, it's always windy in Buffalo, and so he had to run up and catch it to not allow it to hit the ground. Bill Parcells used to be a huge stickler for making sure you caught the football in the air, because if it hits the point of the football, when it lands, it's going to trickle back, and you could easily lose 10, 15, 20, 25 yards worth of field position if you can catch it in the air, and stop it from hitting the ground. So Andy Dalton and company come onto the field, and they're going to have great field position, obviously. And they're going to start at the Bills' 43-yard lines, or excuse me, their own 43-yard line. So they've got great field position. Dalton drops back on first down and goes deep. And he's got John Ross behind the defense. Ross catches it at the 5, makes 2 defenders miss, and he's going to get into the end zone for a touchdown. I talked about John Ross at the beginning of this breakdown and how John Ross could be a difference maker. Remember, the guy was all banged up last year, but remember, John Ross set the combine record for the fastest time ever at the Indy Combine, and he just absolutely gives it to this Bills defender on a double move. And the safety comes over, and Poyer gets juked. Then he jukes the corner that initially got beat, and then jukes both of them and goes back outside and gets into the end zone. That looks eerily similar to what he did at UW when he was just carving guys up. The Bills signed Vontae Davis in the offseason, and Davis got cooked right on a double move on a stop and go. And then Davis came back for seconds and got juked out of his draws. And John Ross juked him and Jordan Poyer twice on this play to get into the end zone. And just like that, one play, 60, let's call it 57 yards and a touchdown. Just like that, Dalton to Ross. So that'll give the Cincinnati Bengals a 7-0 lead in this game. Wow. That didn't take long at all. So let's get up and get to any comments that may be out there. And again, if you're watching this live, welcome. And if you want to have your comment read in the comment section on YouTube, use the hashtag #LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. My man Nick at Night says, about to watch my boy Josh Allen put in work. We're going to see if he's able to do that or not. Nick also says, not new about this game, but you see my Michigan boys already lost Tariq Black. Man, the NFL talent can't stay healthy this time. It's his right foot. Yikes. Good gracious. Boy, I guess the injury reaper doesn't discriminate whether you're in college or NFL. He said, and Nick also says, today is the day my homie Josh Allen wins the starting job. We're going to see. Christian McCoy says, if the Bengals O-line can be decent and not a wet paper bag, we might do something this year. And that was the biggest situation last year, was the offensive line was just horrendous. And I had gotten a heads up from most Cincinnati Bengals fans last year that the Bengals offensive line was going to be a sieve and the reason that team was going to fail last year. And they were right, you know, and no one knows their team better than a true fan, you know. So I always love when fans of these teams chime in and give me the insight that I don't have being an outsider looking in. Always love the insight from guys that are following the team on a day-to-day basis. And you guys told me last year, our offensive line stinks. And if we don't do well this year, they'll be probably the biggest reason why. And Nick Riley says, looking like back in the Wyoming days out there, dropping passes. That was one of the things that I tried to tell people about with Josh Allen coming into the league, was that everybody wanted to talk about this man's completion percentage. And I'm like, man, if you watched him at Wyoming, then you know there was a fair share of drops out there with his supporting cast. So he got off to a rough start today with the drop by Charles Clay, a guy that is normally shorthanded and reliable. So hopefully that's not going to be the situation moving forward. Matthew Lynch says, joining you soon, got too much damn work. Hey, I hear you, bro. Get that done. Andy had good protection on that play, man. Good protection, good pocket for him to step up in and let it rip. John shook the hell out of them boys twice. Hey, go ahead, man. So, touchback for the Bills. They start 1st and 10 from the 25, and they go with a gun run. And let's see who this running back is. Murphy is the running back, and he gets about a good gain of 13, man. Way to churn his legs and fight for yards after contact, man. He was contacted after about a good gain of 8 and kept churning his legs and ended up getting about 13 on the play. Allen with another handoff. This time to whoa, and he's still churning. These Bills backs are churning their legs today, man. Chris Ivory with the carry there, and he was contacted around a good gain of 3, and he kept going, and then you know how you get that rugby scrum and the offensive line gets involved, and all of a sudden it's a gain of 8. So nice couple of runs back to back, and this is what you need when you got a young quarterback in there. You want to settle them down, get a couple first downs, put them in some advantageous situations. 2nd and 2, that's a perfect down to go play action fake or to give your receivers a chance. Look, they're going empty now. 2nd and 2, this is a great opportunity for you to let him pick up a first down on a quick, easy completion and move the sticks. Empty. He drops back, and he's going to get sacked. Boy, I'm going to tell you what, Andrew Billings has looked so good this preseason. I watched him dominate versus Dallas last week, and now he beats the Buffalo guard right off the snap. Allen really had no chance. And the ball needs to come out. This was an easy, quick, 3-step drop. And if it's not there, Allen's got to do something with it. But Billings beats his man and then just gets into the backfield. And Billings has been so dominant this preseason. And this is the guy that I thought we were going to see when he was drafted out of Baylor. Remember, I wanted the Redskins to draft this guy in the 1st round. And remember, Billings didn't go until like the 4th round. So, and this was about 3 drafts ago. So, Andrew Billings finally healthy. This is a guy that I think the Bengals are really excited about, and they should be, because he looks like a brand new man. And after the sack, the Bills compound matters by going false start. And now all of a sudden, what was a 2nd and 2 is now a 3rd and 15. And this is exactly what you don't want to do with your young quarterback, is make mistakes, break down some protection, and penalties. So now you've got another situation where you're going to end up having to punt the football again, because I don't see the Bills picking up 3rd and 15. This is probably a draw or a screen. And it's a draw, handoff. And he's going to get about 7, but well short of the 1st down, and they're going to have to punt. So, thus far, not a great start for the Bills. And it's not all just Josh Allen, but he's responsible for these 2 sacks. You got to find a way to do something with the football. You don't like what you see, get out of there or get rid of the football. But on 2nd and 2, what you don't want to do is take a 7-yard sack, an 8-yard sack. That's what you don't want to do on 2nd and 2. You don't like what you see? Airmail it over your receiver's head. Live to fight another day at 3rd and 2. But don't take an 8-yard sack. That's what you don't want to do. So he's responsible for these sacks. He took one on the first possession. He took another one on the second possession. He's got to be better. All right, so let's go and see if there are any more comments. Matthew Lynch says, pure, unadulterated speed. Can't teach it, man. As my man Nick said, you can't teach speed, man. Either you got it or you don't, and that man has it in ample doses. You can't teach what he's got. Nick Riley says, I swear, bro, Josh Allen's supporting cast was A1 booty hole. Squad full of receivers with Ted Ginn Jr. hands. Hey, Teddy Ball Game be doing cats in sometimes, man. But yeah, Ted will drop one on you every now and again as well, for sure. Kevin says, what's your thoughts on the Packers' D thus far? And do you think they're going to get Mack? No, I don't think the Raiders are going to trade Khalil Mack. It sounds good, and it's a great topic of discussion, but you don't find those kinds of guys. They don't grow on trees, and you don't just draft those guys every year in the top 5 of the draft. Oh, I got a top 5 pick. I'm going to get me a Khalil Mack. No, we don't know if Bradley Chubb is going to be good or not. We don't know. How long did it take Jadeveon Clowney to start to manifest himself into a really good football player? Khalil Mack hit the ground running in this league as a dominant football player. The man is a 3-time All-Pro, and in 1 year he was All-Pro at 2 different positions. You can't afford to trade those kinds of players. Just like in basketball, there's no equal value for trading a star. You don't get equal value back for trading a Khalil Mack. So what? You get 2 first-round picks in exchange. No telling what those first-round picks are going to yield you. But you can't. I can assure you this: you're not going to get another Khalil Mack if you trade and get 2 first-round picks in return. So if you're the Oakland Raiders, I don't think they're looking to trade Khalil Mack. It sounds good, and that's, I think, a rumor that's starting to spread because I think his agent put that out there that, hey, we're looking for a deal. Anybody interested, hit the Raiders up. We'd be more than happy to sign somewhere else. But honestly speaking, I don't think the Raiders are open to really trading this guy because they know that these types of players are so rare, and you can't afford to give these guys away. In a league where pass rushing is paramount, you've got one of the elite ones in the game. You can't afford to give that up. And as far as the Packers' defense is concerned, the secondary has always been an issue, but I always look at the inability to get pressure on the quarterback as well and say, look, I love the secondary. We saw Jair Alexander get a pick last preseason game the other day, and that's great. And I love it. I told you, he's got a chance to be one of the real good ones coming out of this draft class, but you still got to get pressure on the quarterback. And if they can't get pressure on the quarterback consistently, then you're asking young corners to hold up on the back end for a really long time. And I don't like that. I don't like that situation, and I don't like putting those young guys in those kind of predicaments. So we'll see what happens with the Packers defense. We'll talk more about it when we get to the NFC North breakdown and preview and prediction for the season this week. So A.J. Green with the catch as the Cincinnati Bengals start off 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line. And right away, Andy Dalton picks right back up where he left off after the touchdown pass. And A.J. Green over the middle on a nice little quick slant. And that's an easy 15 right there for A.J. It's A.J. Green. And they're not going to be able to stop him. Tre'Davious White is over there in coverage. He has no chance. So that was a gain of 19, actually. Excuse me. And now Joe Mixon in the backfield. I think it's going to be a handoff. And it is. To the left side, Mixon makes a cutback and is able to pick up a gain of about 3. But that's pending a flag here. Let's see. Probably going to be holding on the Bengals offense. And it is. Let's see who's the guilty culprit. Okay, so That was on Alex Redmond. So that's going to make it 1st and 20. So I'm assuming Andy's going to take back to the air here. Let me see what kind of formation they're in. They're in a single back formation. They might still run it here. Nope, Andy drops back. Quick set. A.J. Green on a quick out, and that's going to get them 8. So they're going to get back a lot of the penalty yardage and set up 2nd and 12 after the quick out by A.J. Green there. Quick 3-step drop, ball out of hand. And I thought that's what they would be doing with Josh Allen. They tried it on the 1st down, and it was a drop by Charles Clay. But, that's what you want to do. Quick passes, run some of that quick game, get the football out of your quarterback's hands, and get him into a rhythm, especially for a young quarterback. But with Andy Dalton, who's a wily vet, they came out the gate, double move, touchdown on the first play. So they go with Mixon on a gun handoff, sort of like a jet sweep type, and the Bills weren't having any of it. Jerry Hughes and company to bottle that one up for about a good 2 or 3 yard loss. So that's going to set up a 3rd and about 16. And the Bills are looking to try to get off the field here on 3rd down. And Cordy Glenn making his return to Buffalo. Remember that these two teams made a trade this year that allowed the Bengals to get themselves a left tackle. And I thought they would run a screen. It was 3rd and 16. And again, Jerry Hughes making the play before on the run. Now Jerry Hughes making a play in the screen game and getting to Giovanni Bernard for about a good 2 yard loss or so. No gain, one or the other. Either way, Bengals going to have to punt the football. So Bills D comes alive, forces a punt. Now let's see what the Bills can do offensively. They got to start getting something going. Murphy with a return and great tackle on special teams. There's a flag on the play, which usually is either holding or blocking it back by the receiving team. So expect the Bills to start with some horrid field position. I see an official with his hat off, so now I'm starting to think that's a guy running out of bounds, and nobody pushed him out of bounds. All right, so it was blocking the back. So that's going to push the Bills back even further. And so now Josh Allen's probably going to start inside his own 15-yard line. So it's not a good start thus far for the Bills, trying to help out their young rookie quarterback. So let's get back to the comments. Brown Shoe T2 says, Billings has been playing really well in camp and preseason this year. He might finally live up to what people thought he was going to be. Remember, I just talked about him. I watched him dominate versus the Cowboys. Man, he was destroying Connor Williams. I mean, tore Connor Williams a new asshole. And so he was so impressive in that game. I was like, man, this is the Andrew Billings that I thought we were going to see coming out of Baylor. So, and he's continuing that today. And he looks good, man. Billings looks really, really good right now. Pause. Nick Riley says, Vikings just traded with the Giants to get center Brett Jones. Not sounding good for Pat Elflein. Hope he doesn't stay on the pump list. Yeah, that means it's a little bit more serious than they were hoping, obviously, because they wouldn't have made the move if it was something that they thought he'd be able to rebound from in the next 2 or 3 weeks. They would have just went with one of their backups till Elflein came back. But being that they traded for someone, A, that means they don't trust their backups. That's number one. And B, or number one is it's a lot more serious than they were hoping. And 2, they don't trust their backups to fill in for the amount of time that he's going to be out. So, yeah, that's not a good look at all for Pat Elflein and the Vikings up front. Rodney Ray says, thoughts on Eric Decker's retirement? I thought he was going to play this year. You know, but sometimes guys get into camp and they realize this ain't what I want, man. I'm not, my heart's not in it. And he would have made the perfect Patriot receiver. He's white. He's reliable. He would have fit in perfectly in New England, but he had other ideas, and I don't know where he was exactly on the depth chart. I don't know where he was exactly health-wise, but he decided enough was enough, man. He had a hell of a career, man. Played with some of the league's best too. Remember, he was there with Peyton Manning in Denver. He played with Tim Tebow. I cracked myself up. Oh, man. Let's see now. We back on the field with some action. Okay. Josh Allen with a hard count, and he got the Bengals to jump. So he just picked up a free 5, man. I like that. Let's hope it's on. Damn. He got his own, man. I was thinking the Bengals jump. John Miller jumped again. So these are the kind of mistakes you can't continue to have, especially with as I already said, and I want to keep repeating myself, with a young quarterback. You were already backed up at the 14-yard line, 1st and 10. You're going to back up 5 more yards, and now you 1st and 15 from the 9. So now they go with a gun run to, I think this is Murphy again. And he gets 2 yards, so now it's 2nd and 13. I mean, you're putting your young quarterback in some less than ideal situations, man. I'd like to see them throw it the next 2 downs. You got 2 downs to get 13 yards. Make it happen. Get 6 or 7 right here. Get into a 3rd and manageable, and let's see if you can't pick it up. I'd like to see them throw it right here. They got 2 backs in the backfield, and they got 3 receivers wide. They got 2 receivers and a fullback wide. Get out of the pocket. Oh, man. He had Charles Clay down the sideline. He was in the pocket way too long. He should have been got out, but he did escape the pocket. He rolled out to his right, and we talked about his big arm. Well, this was a chance to showcase it. Charles Clay is wide open down the sidelines, got the corner beat, and William Jackson the third, and he underthrew him. He had Charles Clay wide open down the sideline. That's Drake Kirkpatrick, excuse me. Had Drake Kirkpatrick beaten on the play by about 3 yards. And Josh Allen short-armed it. Let that shit go, man. I'd rather you overthrow him because that should have been picked. Drake Kirkpatrick couldn't catch the goddamn football. That should have been picked off. Now it's 3rd and 13. Allen does a great job of manipulating the pocket and throws a damn. Now he want to throw the damn ball hard. Now he want to throw a damn rocket shot. High and erratic on that play. Missed his receiver. But he did a great job of sliding to his left and then stepping up in the pocket, avoiding a couple of rushers that were creating some pressure, and he found a throwing lane, had a receiver open, and then let go of a goddamn rocket. Too damn high and too damn hard. Pause. Yikes. Rodney Ray says, thoughts on Pac-Man signing with Denver? Saw that earlier today. I think he gives them that he feels the Aqib Talib role in Denver. You know, that the crazy veteran that we know still has good football left, but is just a little off, you know, one taco short of a combination plate type of dude. You know, that, you know, gives you that edge that they may be missing in Denver. They got, you know, in that secondary without him, they got some physical players, but they got nice guys, you know, like Chris Harris Jr. I mean, Chris Harris don't want no smoke for real. Like, you know, Chris is a good dude. Bradley Roby, same thing. You know, they can be a little feisty, but they not crazy like Aqib Talib was. So they're missing that edge a bit, and that's what Pac-Man's going to provide for them. A guy that comes in, gives them a little bit of a spark in the secondary, and then also in a pinch can also return punts. So that may allow them to maybe move on from a guy like Isaiah McKenzie. You know, I don't know where his standing is with that football team, but if he's not providing him anything on punts and they don't love him as a receiver, they may be able to move on from him because now they have another guy that they know can handle the punt return duties as well. So it's a solid signing for them because Pac-Man was still playing at a relatively high level when he was in Cincinnati. You know, you just couldn't count on him to always keep his head, and you couldn't always count on him to stay healthy. That's been his two bugaboos throughout the course of his career. But it's a solid signing for the Denver Broncos. Nick Riley says, well, the backup is banged up also, Lou. You know how it is in Minnesota. We walk around with handicapped lifetime passes. Yeah, it'd be rough for y'all, especially on that offensive line, man. Y'all stay banged up. So that's unfortunate that you got to go out and trade for a center, because if you're trading for anybody this time of the year, most likely they're not a starter. And I don't want to bring in somebody else's backup to my team to start, generally. You know, but you got to do what you got to do, man. So, you know, it is what it is. All right, so Dalton and company take over from the Bills' 46-yard line. And Eifert, good to see Tyler Eifert out there, man. If he could just stay healthy, he could be one of the better tight ends in the league, man. Just got to stay healthy. He's been having back issues and all kinds of nonsense. If it ain't his back, it's his ankle. If it ain't his ankle, it's his knee. He just need to stay healthy. If it ain't his knee, it's his shoulder or his elbow. He always got some shit going on. Need Tyler Eifert to stay healthy, because that's one of my favorite Notre Dame tight ends, man. Tyler Eifert is my guy. So I want to see Tyler do well. Screen to Joe Mixon, and they had space, and Joe dropped the football. Damn. That had a nice little 15-yard gain written all over it. With Joe's ability to make dudes miss out in space, that could have got nasty quick. But instead, it's an incomplete pass, and it's 2nd and 10 after the drop by Mixon on the screen attempt. All right, so it's 2nd and 10 at the 35-yard line of the Bills. And they go empty after motioning out Mixon, who just freaks Matt Milano in the slot. And just like that, he makes up for his drop by breaking Matt Milano off with something proper on a little arrow route and gets an additional 15 after the catch. So just like that, Joe picks up about a good gain of 35 maybe, good 20, 25. And that's what Joe Mixon provides, man. The ability to catch it and make something happen after the catch. Andy is carving these boys. He's 6 or 7, buck 17 and a touch. And the one incompletion was the drop by Mixon on the screen. So Andy's doing these boys right now. 1st and 10 from the Bills' 12. Mixon with a move. Tries to get to the outside. Great tackle by Jordan Poyer as he tried to get to the outside, and Poyer wasn't having it. Probably a loss or 2 there. Hey, go ahead, man. Loss of 2, as I said. Dalton drops back, looking for Eifert. He was covered, smothered by Matt Milano. Great coverage there on the out route. Milano all over it. And that was one of Matt Milano's biggest pros coming out of BC, was his ability to cover, man. The guy can run, very athletic. And this is going to be his calling card in the league, and did a good job of covering Eifert there. I would like him to look back for the football there. But it wasn't the best ball. If it was, they might have got him for PI, because he never turned around and looked. But he was in great position. Just needed him to turn around and locate the football there. Never know, he could have made a play on it if he would have looked. So it's 3rd and 12 from the Bills' 14. Dalton to the end zone. A.J. Green. It's A.J. Green for a touchdown on the outbreaking route, man. And just like that, it's about to be 14-0 pending the extra point. And Andy Dalton's sharp right now. And like I said, man, I got a big, if you've been listening to my podcast, I got a big bounce back season for the Bengals, man. Really the entire AFC North as a whole. I think that division's got a shot to be one of the best in football, man. AJ Green just beat Tre'Davious White. Micah Hyde had no shot at getting over there to make anything happen. And Bullock adds on the extra point. And just like that, it's 14-0, man. So 2 out of the first 3 Bengal drives have been impressive. Hell, one was a one-play, 57-yard touchdown strike, and the other was a methodical drive that resulted in an Andy Dalton touchdown hookup with A.J. Green for 14 yards. So, man, let's get to some comments, though. Dark Sealer 1995 says, Tom Brady gets lessons from Tim Tebow in the offseason. I guess I set myself up for that one. Kevin says, what happened to the fantasy football league you had as a stream, or you never streamed it unless I missed it? Nope, I haven't streamed it yet. I'm working on that. I talked about it yesterday on one of these live streams that I did. I think it was the Tennessee and Pittsburgh one I did yesterday. That I'm not playing in the league, and when I first tried to set it up, they pretty much, as the commissioner, made me play. They put me in one of the divisions. And so I was like, if I can't find a way to set it up where I don't play, then I probably won't do it. But someone was like, hey, man, you can do co-owners. And so if I can find a way to do the co-owner thing, and that will allow me to allow someone else to be in control of that team, then we'll do it. So you'll know in the next 48 hours, I'll have a video up with everything that I'm doing this season in terms of, the fantasy football league, the survivor pool, the weekly pool, and then the winners and losers. All of that will be up. We'll do videos for every single one of them. Finally, a completion for Josh Allen on a comeback to Kelvin Benjamin. Benjamin then turns up the field, puts his head down, and gets an additional 4 after the 8-yard grab for a total of 12 and a first down, man. So that's great, man. So that's awesome. Watching Andy Dalton show up at the pediatric center in Buffalo, was that Cincinnati? Either way, I think it was in Buffalo. Obviously, he got a game today, so I'd assume that was in Buffalo. So Preston Brown making a play there, the ex-Buffalo Bill. So gain of 1 there, and Josh Allen now in the pistol with a back behind him, and they go with a jet sweep to Corey Coleman, the ex-Cleveland Brown. And I had already forgotten that man had been traded for already. So that's another guy that could maybe help them out for this Bills football team. So they're trying to get him involved. They run the jet sweep. And he ended up getting about a good 4 on that play. And so now you see a 3rd and 4 situation here. Bills haven't converted a 3rd down yet in this game. So this would be a great opportunity for Allen to do something. Get out of there. Get out of there. Allen's being chased by Geno Atkins. He's got enough wheels to get around the corner. He dives for the first down. Did he step out? Let's see where they marked the football. Did he step out? Let's see where they marked the ball. I think they might have said he stepped out because I didn't see them run up where he dove out of bounds. I was waiting for the official to come up. But this is a great job of him getting out of the pocket, getting out of danger, reversing field, spinning out of a sack attempt, and then diving. Oh, man, he's got the first down. He's got the first down. He never stepped out. Ho. If I'm the Bills, I'm challenging that. What are you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Wow, they're not going to challenge. Sean McDermott falling asleep behind the wheel back there, man. Man, at worst, you got to burn the challenge there. Man, I need to see that again. If his feet aren't, let me see, his knee is down. The knee is down. It's at the marker. Like, you got to challenge that. You got to make them tell you, nah, we don't have enough. Literally, the man's knee is down. His feet are inbounds because the other angle shows us his feet. They're inbounds. His knee goes down, and you can see the ball clearly stretched out right at the marker. It's a first down. You got to challenge that. If you're Sean McDermott, Sean McDermott fell asleep behind the wheel right there. That's part of being a coach, is knowing when to pull out that challenge flag and making sure your team doesn't get jerked. And right there, that was a situation where you got a young quarterback, needs a little bit of confidence. Here's an opportunity. He made a play. His teammates were excited for him. They're jumping on him. They're dapping him up on the sideline. And here's an opportunity for you to make sure he gets his credit there for the play that he just made. And you waste the opportunity. You squander it. You got to challenge that. So, I think Sean McDermott missed an opportunity there to maybe challenge a play and see if he couldn't keep possession of the football. So now he puts this red-hot Bengals offense back on the field, and Mixon goes for 2 yards on first down. They hand it to him again on second down, and he gets another 4. And so that's going to set up a 3rd and short for Andy Dalton, who right now is 7 of 8 for 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he is carving these boys up. So 3rd and 4 from the Bengals 27, from their own 27. And Dalton with a fake handoff. Oh, John Ross drops the slant. Great little play action fake in the backfield. Fake handoff out of the shotgun formation, and had the linebackers bite up. And then John Ross breaks off Vontae Davis again, creates about a good 3 yards of separation on the slant. Dalton hits him right in between the 1 and the 5, and John Ross drops the football. Catch the damn ball with your hands, man. So Andy Dalton's 2 incompletions in this game, both drops. Andy's been razor sharp this game. The red rifle out here having some easy target practice on these Bills, and if not for his teammates dropping a rock, man would be perfect on the day right now. So the Bills are going to get the football back, and 17 seconds left on this first quarter clock. And Josh Allen's 4 of 7 for 21 yards, and he's been sacked twice. Also had a scramble that I thought should have resulted in a first down, but his coach, Sean McDermott, did not challenge the play and the ruling of the spotting of the football. And so Bills are able to get a 3-and-out due to the drop by John Ross on 3rd down. So they're going to start 1st and 10 from their own 28-yard line with 17 seconds left in the first quarter. They're in an offset formation, play action fake, bootleg out. Allen rolling to his right. At the last second, throws it to Zay Jones, but he's high and it skips out of bounds. And so right there, I'd like to see him take a profit. Cincinnati played it well, but if you're not going to tuck it and run, I'd like to see you drop that off to Patrick DeMarco right in front of you. DeMarco may have only gotten 2, but 2's better than none. You can't go broke making a profit, is what a wise man once told me. And on a situation like that where you're not going to get anything, take the fullback right in front of you. Yeah, there's a defender that's going to get him quickly, but you'll get 2 or 3, and you'll be in 2nd and 7 instead of 2nd and 10. Allen drops back out of the shotgun, lets it go, and is able to find Charles Clay for a gain of about 6, maybe 7, depending on where they spot that football. And that'll set up a 3rd and short, a 3rd and very manageable on the other side of the break as we are going to head to the second quarter. And so we'll see if they can finally convert their first 3rd down of the day for the Bills. But let's get to some comments. Rodney Ray says, I went to high school with John Miller, Miami Central Senior High School. No offense to him, but he'll be out of the league soon. That's what I was laughing at when I was just randomly laughing about a good 10 minutes ago as I saw that comment. And that was funny to me. Hey, Rodney, you terrible, man. You supposed to be rooting for that man. Y'all went to high school together. Hey, oh, man. Anyway, Nick says, damn, Josh Allen needs to complete that pass. With the arm strength, he has no excuse to be over the top. He says, no excuse that throw has to be over the top. Like you said, next throw was a dart and too high. Yeah, and that was a possession ago where he had Charles Clay down the sideline. You can't miss that. With your arm strength, you know, that's what we're touting you as and we're lauding you for is your arm strength. You can't short arm that one. You got to let it rip. Dark Sealer 1995 says, Tyler Eifert is that old lady in the commercial yelling, help me, I can't get up. We just got to keep him healthy, man. Tyler Eifert is my guy, but he got to stay healthy. Archangel says, I'd love to join the Fantasy Football League, even though I'm already a part of two, especially if we buy in to get in. I don't think I'm going to do anything financially this year with the fantasy, because I've never done a fantasy football league, so I don't want to do something real janky and have y'all paying for it and it's not organized and well put together. This year will be more of a test run for me because I've never done it before, and so as I grow more comfortable with what I'm doing, then I can start asking people to put money in so that it'll make it more worth your while. So as of right now, I know I'm not going to make it a buy-in league because I don't want that pressure being put on me to make sure that I handle it correctly, because I don't want people paying money and then it's not well put together and organized. Because I can tell you right now, the fact that the information isn't even out right now, I'm well behind the time frame that I had set for myself as far as having this information out to you guys and having you make a decision on whether you wanted to play or not. Damn. Allen had a quick 3-step drop in the shotgun, and he didn't like what he saw on his first read, and instead of getting rid of the football or getting out of there, he stood there, he pumped it, and by the time he brought that pump down, he got sacked. Let's see. Geno Atkins picked up the guard. Is that Vladimir Dukas? Whoever 62 is for the Bills. He got his ass dump trucked by Geno Atkins. And then off the edge, Carl Lawson, beat the brakes off of Marshall Newhouse, who shouldn't be in the league as a starting tackle right now, and he's not. I know Cordy Glenn isn't playing in this game, but Marshall Newhouse shouldn't be on the field, period. And Newhouse got beat like he stole something off the edge by Carl Lawson, and the result was a sack of Josh Allen. I can tell you right now, this has not been a good starting debut for Josh Allen. I'm kind of glad in a sense because, as I said on the AFC East divisional breakdown, that he didn't need to start. I think the guy that's been the most impressive this preseason has been Nathan Peterman, and to me, it hasn't even been close. So I'd actually prefer to see Nathan Peterman get the nod. Dalton drops back and drops a beautiful pass over Jordan Poyer and into the waiting arms of Tyler Boyd, man. Andy Dalton is really hot right now. The Red Rifle, like I said, just making easy target practice to these boys. Nice little over route after the play action fake. Finds Tyler Boyd. A beautifully thrown football by Dalton, man. I don't know why people be shitting on Andy like that. Because I told people, yeah, Andy is inconsistent sometimes. But when Andy's on, Andy's damn good. And we've got proof of Andy being consistent for an entire year. Andy was an MVP candidate in 2015 before he got injured. Remember, that was the year the Bengals started off the season 11-0. And Andy was just shredding defenses that year. And Giovanni Bernard now takes a handoff for a gain of 11 into Bills territory. And Andy is looking like he's in rare form right now. And if Andy can continue this into the regular season, Bills are going to have a shot. I mean, the Bengals are going to have a shot to be dangerous. I already think, and I said this on my podcast about a month and a half ago, that I thought the Bengals are going to be one of the surprise teams of the league this year. You know, nobody's talking about Cincinnati. No one's talking about the AFC North in general, other than Pittsburgh and maybe Baltimore. You better watch the hell out for goddamn Cincinnati. That's all I'm going to say. Andy on another fake handoff out of shotgun, dumps it down to Giovanni Bernard after faking to him. And Giovanni's going to get a gain of 11 and another first down. So Andy picking up right where he left off last possession. Oh, shit. I said Cordy Glenn. And I forgot he got traded to Cincinnati. We already talked about that. Marshall Newhouse can't be your starting left tackle. I hope that's not what the Bills are rolling with this season. And speaking of Cordy Glenn, they're now, Pam Oliver is now saying he's out with an injury. And, you know, that's something that they can't afford in Cincinnati either. Let's hope that that's not major. He's walking around on the sideline. Doesn't look like he's in any pain, but let's hope that that's more of a precautionary thing and not something that is going to linger and cause him to miss any time for Cincinnati. Marshall Newhouse starting at left tackle is a death sentence for any quarterback you got in your lineup. And really, the Bills' offensive line looks pretty bad right now. We talked about that on the AFC East preview and predictions video, that was part of the reason we didn't trust the Bills, is because their line isn't what it once was. You know, no more Richie Incognito, no more Eric Wood, no more Cordy Glenn. And I think they actually have Deion Dawkins. He might be hurt, because I think Deion Dawkins might be their starting left tackle, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm hoping that they're missing. Ooh! Great job by Dalton to squeeze it into A.J. Green. Tre'Davious White was right there, and he was looking to jump it and pick it. But A.J. Green, being the veteran that he is, came back to the football and made a play on it and caught it. A.J. Green comes back to the football, shields off Tre'Davious White. And great throw by Andy, though. That's what got that ball completed. Was that ball was to the outside where only A.J. could get it. And Andy is just so sharp right now. He's making the right decisions. He's going through his reads quickly. He's checking it down when he needs to check it down. And he's not missing when guys are open. And that's one of the biggest keys to being a quarterback in this league, is you don't miss when guys are open. And he's got time. Pump fakes twice. Finds Tyler Boyd and converts 3rd and 3 with a 4-yard gain. So Andy Dalton continuing to shred this Bills defense and continuing his hot start to this game. Tyler Boyd also looking good, man. And this is going to be a big year for him, too. Because we were expecting a lot of big things from him out of Pitt when he was drafted a couple years ago. I think this is his 3rd year in the league now. I think they're ready to get Tyler Boyd to start to really produce for them. And he's playing well in this game. So now 1st and 10 from the Bills' 29-yard line as the Bengals are on the move yet again. Handoff out of the gun to Giovanni Bernard. And Gio is able to get about a gain of 1, maybe 2 at most. It's going to set up a 2nd and about 9 or 8. Inside the Bills' 25-yard line, I believe. Inside the Bills' 30, excuse me. So they're in the gun again. Dalton drops back. Doesn't like what he sees. Gets hit as he's throwing. And I don't think he was going to complete that one. Jordan Poyer was all over Eifert on the outbreaking route. And let's see what happened here. Bills able to also get a piece of the football up front. On these 3rd down situations, I'd love to see I'd love to see Tremaine Edmonds rush a little bit, man. They got him in coverage. 3rd and 9. Dalton, that was his first bad throw of the game. A.J. Green on an out route, on a deep out. And Green was open in between the safety and the corner. It was going to be a tough one to squeeze in there, but he wasn't even close. He didn't give A.J. Green a chance at all on that throw. And they're going to have to settle for a field goal. Randy Bullock coming in to try to kick. So Randy Bullock from 46 yards out to try to give the Bengals a 3-score lead at 17-0. And it is right down the middle, and the Bengals take a 17-0 lead over Buffalo in the game. 9:19 remaining in the 2nd quarter. 4 possessions, 3 scores for Cincinnati. Andy Dalton and company have looked extremely sharp. The only downside to what we've seen from Cincinnati in this game is the fact that starting left tackle Cordy Glenn has been lifted from the game due to an injury. We'll learn more about the injury. Doesn't seem serious. Again, saw him on the sidelines, still in his pads. Didn't seem to be in any discomfort or pain. But again, don't want to speculate. But hopefully he's okay. But all signs point to him being just fine. Brown Shoe T2 says, Dalton always looked great when he had a little bit of time in the pocket. He's finally got a pocket to step up into because he has a center that isn't getting buttholed. Yeah, Bodine was a source of frustration for many Bengals fans. My man BST2 would always talk to me about Bodine and how bad he was, but even other Bengals fans that I would talk to would always say, man, Bodine, my man, including my man Slip Ammo, would always tell me just how bad Bodine was in the middle of that defense. And so they drafted the center out of Ohio State in the first round, and they've done some things to rectify some of the issues they've had up front along that offensive line. And you know, they're hoping that they'll give Dalton the time that he needs, and if they give him the time, this is the end result right here. So we'll see. Right now, it looks good, man. Looks to be like a investment well spent. Danny Henley says, what's been going on with John Ross? We've seen good John Ross. We've seen bad John Ross. The good, very first play of the game offensively for Cincinnati, John Ross beats 2 defenders, double move, smokes the cornerback, then catches the football. Safety comes over, jukes him once. The corner comes back into the play, jukes both of them, gets into the end zone on a 57-yard touchdown strike. Then the bad, on a 3rd down and 7, he runs a slant, and it's a beautifully run slant. It breaks off the defender, the corner, at the line of scrimmage, gives him a nice stutter, and stems him, gets to the inside, creates about 3 yards of separation. Andy Dalton puts it right on the money, and he drops it. So we've seen good John Ross. We've seen bad John Ross. All right, so Josh Allen taking the field yet again, and we're hoping that this is a much better result here. They still haven't converted. I don't think they've converted a 3rd down yet. They may have converted 1. But they go hand off to Chris Ivory here. And Ivory with a nice run to the outside, breaks 3 tackles, breaks 4 tackles. See, that's about a good gain of 20 there. That's a nice little, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this out here. If there are any Bengals fans out there watching, I'd love to hear from you on this. I need answers on this one. Talk to me about the release of George Iloka. I need a comment or 2 or 3 if you're out there, Bengals fans. How do you feel about it? Was it a necessity? I know it was money driven. We know you're one of the organizations in the league that don't like to spend money. Was there a very big savings here because of the cut? Talk to me about that move, because it was so surprising. I literally watched the preseason game versus Dallas last week, and then 2 days later, George Iloka was being released. So I need answers. So if you guys are out there, talk to me about George Iloka and that situation. How do you feel about it, and what prompted the release of George Iloka? Was he not playing well? I mean, the guy started pretty much every game for you over the last, 2-3 seasons. I need answers, and you just gave him a contract not too long ago. So talk to me about that situation, if you will, please. In the meantime, my man Rodney Ray's boy John Miller with a personal foul penalty that's going to back the Bills up 15 yards and create a 1st and 22. Allen about to get sacked again, and he does. Combination of Willis. What you talking about, Willis? And who was that up the middle? Somebody got bulldozed. Andrew Billings again? Yep, Billings destroying Miller again. I think that was Miller. He got no, that wasn't Miller. That was 62, I think, man. But Billings just destroyed. What was that? Vladimir Dukas? Boy, this Bills line is full of bums, man. I tell you, you can't live with a left side that starts with Marshall Newhouse and then gets worse as you go down the line with Vladimir Dukas. They gotta do something over there, man. That shit was ridiculous. They gotta fix that quick. I think, like I said, Deion Dawkins, I think, is their starting left tackle out of Temple. And he might not be playing in this game, but god damn, boy, it looks bad right now. All right, so 3rd and 29 after the sack. Allen is going to get sacked again. It was Willis first and then cleaned up by Lawson. Boy, oh boy, they having a damn sack party. Fiesta, fiesta, fiesta. Fiesta, fiesta. Woo! Fiesta, fiesta, fiesta. Fiesta, fiesta. Fiesta, fiesta. Fiesta, fiesta. They having a damn party, boy. Oh, my God. What is that, the 5th or the 6th sack? We ain't even got through the damn second quarter yet. A kickoff to Alex Erickson. I mean, a punt to Alex Erickson. He was dynamic last year, and he's dynamic on this one. Nice little return there. That's one dangerous white boy on punt returns right there, man. He gets it into Bills territory. Boy, they are having fun on defense, boy. God damn. Josh, I think it's safe to say after this start, Josh Allen is not starting week 1 of the regular season. And you know what? I can honestly say I'm thrilled with that news when it comes down. But this performance isn't going to get anybody to change their mind, or if they were on the fence about starting him, this is definitely not going to sway them in the way of starting him. So, yikes. Anyway, let's get to some more comments. Nick says, LOL, my high school team can look good against this Bills defense. I won't disrespect that Bills defense that way, but that offensive line, oh no, man, that O-line looking real shabby right now. Again, I think they're missing a starter or two. For sure, Deion Dawkins is not in there, and I think he's the starting left tackle. So, anyway, Brown Shoe T2 says, oh great, this is what I was looking for. He says, if they free up money to keep both Atkins and Dunlap, then I'll be happy about it. They saved enough to where it's possible they can keep both. Got you. Nick Riley says, Josh Allen needs to work on his decision time. Speed it up some. Sit in the pocket too long. Yeah. Right. I think right now he's reading half of the field, because even on the first sack he took on that possession, you heard Charles Davis say, who's open? I saw a wide open receiver on an out-breaking route, and it was a clear out on the outside by Kelvin Benjamin, and the slot receiver was running an out, and it was a wide-ass open. So, again, I think he was looking at the other side of the field, and I think that's part of the reason why he just not seeing the field well right now. And I think they've taken away his initial reads, and when it's not there, he's panicking, and he's staying in the pocket way too long. You got to make a decision quickly, and that's the difference between college and the NFL is you can get away with standing in the pocket for 4 or 5 seconds in college and then end up scrambling out of the pocket and making something happen. You can't do that in the NFL, man. You get 3 seconds, 4 at most, before somebody's coming to hit your ass. And Andy Dalton is out of the game now, and rightfully so. 11-16. Let me give you his stats real quick. 11-16. 11 and 16 for $180 and 2 scores, man. Dude was stupid today. And two of those 5 incompletions were drops. So Andy was locked in today. And if that's any indication of what we're going to get from him during the regular season, Bengals fans should be really excited about the upcoming season. So Joe Mixon goes for 3 on the first down carry. And now Bartlett drops back, wide open Tyler Croft. And shit. Let me see if the Buffalo Bills still got their starters out there. I see Tremaine Edmonds out there still. I see Jerry Hughes. So, yeah, the starters are still out there, man. It ain't getting no better with a backup quarterback in there. Wide ass open is Tyler Croft. And Poyer able to knock him out of bounds after probably about a good solid gain, about 20. 21 on that play. Now he's going to probably turn around, hand it off to Mixon. And Mixon's going to get about a gain of 2 there. And we're just a little bit over 5 minutes left in the first half. So we go bootleg with Bartlett. He finds CJ Uzama. And he gets about a gain of 5, setting up a 3rd and 4. So we'll see what happens, but Cincinnati in field goal range yet again. So that'll make it 4 out of 5 possessions in this first half that they've had a legitimate scoring opportunity. See, Bartlett drops back on 3rd and 4, throws it too high and incomplete. He had Erickson open and he just was a little too high with the football. That's going to force a field goal attempt, but excuse me, that's Matt Barkley. I'm calling him Bartlett. It's Matt Barkley. And had him. And he just was a little errant with that one, was Barkley. And so that's going to bring on Randy Bullock again. And he's 2 of 2 right now. Or, excuse me. He's 2 of 2 now after drilling it from 37 yards out. So that's going to make it 20-0. And 4 out of 5 possessions, the Bengals have scored 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, the Bills have yet to convert a 3rd down in this game. They're 0 of 6. So it's been a rough half for the Bills in the dress rehearsal. And I think it makes the coach's decision that much easier. If they were leaning towards McCarron or Peterman, then it's going to be one of those 2 now. I don't think Josh Allen is ready. And Brown Shoe T2 says, if they would have released Johnson or Williams, then they wouldn't have gotten as much. Iloka hasn't been the same since Nelson left for the Raiders. So my man Brown Shoe T2 is saying that it's a combination of obviously financial gain. They're looking to recoup some of the money that he would have been owed had he been on the opening day roster. He would have been guaranteed his money and probably owed some more money down the line that they may have been able to free up by releasing him at this point. And he's saying that since Reggie Nelson departed for Oakland, which he did last offseason, he hasn't been the same player. So maybe it was a good move for them. We'll see as time goes on. But let me ask you this. Who's going to start at safety for you now? Obviously, you've got Williams, the ex-Georgia safety, out there. Who's the guy that's going to start opposite of him now that George Iloka's going? Give me that. Emperor Meach says, Bills O-line is brutal without Wood and Richie. Draft McCoy and fantasy people. I'm going to tell you right now, you better be careful with that. Because with the quarterback position the way it is and the offensive line being the way it is, what's stopping teams from putting 8 in the box and saying, all right, I dare you to throw it. But you're not going to beat us with Shady McCoy. So be careful with that one. Christian McCoy says, they said they cut Iloka for cap room, but I think it's that BS because they could have cut Michael Johnson, saved the same amount. Or maybe they feel really good about Jesse Bates III. So I think I just got my answer. I knew you guys drafted Jesse Bates in the 2nd round. I wasn't sure if he was the guy that was going to get the nod or not. So that'll be interesting if Jesse is in fact, if Jesse is the guy that's the beneficiary of this. And, it might have just come down to the fact that, yeah, they could have saved money, but they might have said to themselves, hey, we really, really like the way Jesse's been playing for us. We really like the way Jesse Bates III has been playing, and so we want to get him on the field. I still feel like Sean McDermott should have challenged that play. I think that really would have given him some confidence. You got a young quarterback struggling, looking for any kind of positive reinforcement. You got to challenge that play, man. Even if you were going to lose, you got to challenge that. Play I should fake, and Josh letting it go. Down the field, Kelvin Benjamin jumped way too early. And Dre Kirkpatrick with a nice knockaway, but Kelvin Benjamin jumped way too early. He mistimed the hell out of that jump. Look at him jump way early for this. Bruh, you coming down when the ball get there, and it got to his chest. He should have caught that. He should have caught that. He jumped way too damn early, though. That should have been a catch. That wasn't the best throw in the world, but that was very catchable, and Kelvin Benjamin mistimed the hell out of his jump. So Murphy gets 3 on 2nd down and 10, which is going to set up a 3rd and 7. All right. So 3rd and 7, he throws it out to Charles Clay, and I think he might end up being a half a yard short of the 1st down. And that reminds me of watching Vernon Davis on 4th and 3, not stretch the football out. You a veteran like Charles Clay? Bruh, I need you to know where you at all times and get that 1st down. You that close to the sticks, stretch the goddamn football out, get the 1st down, man. In any event, 0 of 7 now on 3rd downs are the Buffalo Bills, and this was a bad first half. Oh, somebody jumped. If it's the Cincinnati Bengals, okay, it's the Bills. So, this is, and I thought they just made a great point. Kevin Burkhardt just made a great point because we all watched the Bills last week against Cleveland, and they got dominated up front. That's why A.J. McCarron got hurt. They got their ass ramrodded last week. And now the offensive line was even worse this week against, and some of that is the quarterback not getting rid of the football, but still, the offensive line was atrocious 2 weeks in a row. I mean, straight garbage. Their line was trash as hell today. So, garbage can juice. So, They got some issues, man, because it don't matter who is at quarterback if if they don't have time. And the last 2 weeks we've watched these quarterbacks struggle with little to no time to throw the football because their offensive line has been getting dominated. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if they don't improve that, then they're not gonna be able to have any success no matter who's at quarterback. Period. So Barkley's back in for the Bengals, and he's going to take us to the 2-minute warning with this completion of Tyler Croft for about a gain of 12 to pick up a first down. And we'll resume that drive on the other side of the 2-minute warning. But it's 20-0. Bengals up on the Bills, who have really looked disgusting on both sides of the football, to be honest with you, but more so on offense than defense, with Josh Allen making his first start and not going well at all. They're 0 of 7 on third downs, and they don't even have 70 yards of total offense to this point in the game, and we're approaching halftime. Back to the comment section. Emperor Meat says, I seen this coming, but people were acting like it was going to be fine. I think the Bills are definitely going to be the worst in the AFC East. I think I have it where they are the second worst, but I'm with you. Because I found it really hard when I did my AFC East breakdown to give them or the Jets wins. But I actually love the Jets coaching staff, and I actually think the Jets are getting better. And you remember last year, we thought the Jets, everybody collectively thought the Jets were going to be one of the worst teams in football. We thought they were going to be, I had them as 1-15 going into the season. And the Jets won. And remember, the Jets were in first place, tied for first place 7 weeks into the season. They were 4-3 after starting the season off 0-3. The Jets reeled off 4 straight wins and were in first place. And then they kind of woke up and came back to earth and realized, what the hell are we doing with the Jets? We can't be in first place. And so, you know, they went on a nice little loser streak, but they were in ball games and just didn't know how to close the show. But they won 5 games, and both Mike McCagnon, the GM, and the head coach, Todd Bowles, got extensions, and they were well-deserved because that team overachieved last year, and I think they're only going to be a little bit better this year, but the schedule is so brutal. That's why I couldn't find wins for them. But watch them boys win 6 or 7 games this year. I got them 3-13. Watch them win 6 or 7 games this year. Talking about the Jets. Bills, on the other hand, with this young quarterback situation, I really see this situation. I really see this situation going to hell in a handbasket. I really do. I was talking to a Bills fan. I think it was Mandalorian Legion that said, "Hey man, can you really see a Sean McDermott coach team? Can you really see a Sean McDermott coach team going 4-12?" And I was like, "No, man. I think Sean McDermott is good for 1 or 2 wins, but." Plays like today where he didn't challenge, that's a problem for me. As a coach, it's your job to make things happen. And that was a situation where your young quarterback is reeling. He needs something good to happen to him. That was a play you need to challenge if you're Sean McDermott, and he didn't. So we're going to see. But I'm like you, Emperor Meach. I think the Bills have a chance to be really bad this year. I don't know if they'll be the worst in the AFC East, but they got a great shot at being the worst in the AFC East. They're gonna really feel the effects of no Tyrod Taylor. Watch. Nick Riley says, Bills offensive line and secondary getting eaten alive. No doubt in my mind the Bills are the worst team in the league. I won't go that far. They still got talent on that team, especially on defense more so than offense. But it's going to be a long season for Bills fans. They better be lucky they made the playoffs last year, because if they didn't make it last year, it could be easily another 3 or 4 years depending on how the quarterback situation. Look, we talking all this mess, and if A.J. McCarron comes in and he tightens some shit up, they could easily win 8-9 games this year. Like, they're good enough to win if they get the right quarterback in there. And the offensive line, while it's been bad, I don't think they're fully healthy. I refuse to believe that they think it's okay to start Marshall Newhouse. I'm pretty confident that Deion Dawkins is the starting left tackle and he's just banged up. So I find it hard to believe that they think it's okay to start. That they think it's okay to start Marshall Newhouse. So I feel confident that they'll be just fine up front, somewhat up front. You know, it's still if Vladimir Dukas is the best you can do at guard, you got a problem on your hands. So we'll see. Tall FL guy says, I think the Bills have the worst O-line in the league. It's looking bad right now. Emperor Meat says the McCoy fantasy comment was sarcasm. I know, that's what I was telling them. Y'all better be careful. And you were pretty much telling them, hey, man, y'all better be. Oh, Tremaine Edmonds almost with a pick 6. That young fella has a bright future in front of him. I wish they would use him in some situations where they give him a chance to go after the quarterback more. Maybe they saving that for the season, but he was all over Alex Erickson there, and Erickson don't get a hand in there. That's a pick 6. And he off to the races, and I don't know if Alex Erickson is going to catch him from behind or not. But he also says with sarcasm because he's going in the second round before people like Mixon, CMC, which is Christian McCaffrey, and Freeman. And yeah, he's right. Y'all better rethink that because it's not a good situation in Buffalo right now. Emperor Meat says, so who do you think will be the blood sacrifice at quarterback for the Bills, Peterman or McCarron? Right now, I think the Bills are leading towards A.J. McCarron. They really want A.J. to be the guy. And if he's healthy and they like what they see in practice, obviously, as fans, we don't have enough on film from the preseason to give the nod to McCarron, but they're watching these guys in practice every day. And if they're comfortable with what they've seen from McCarron throughout the preseason and in practice, then I think he's going to be the guy. But for me, if you're just going off of what we've seen in game situations during the preseason, then Nathan Peterman has by far and away been the best quarterback. So there goes Tremaine Edmonds again, making a play. He blew that play up from the jump, and then the rest of his cohorts came and cleaned it up. So Tremaine Edmonds finally making his presence felt when the backups get in the game. But that's gorgeous right there what he just did. Beat the guard to the spot, and then he allowed the rest of his teammates to clean it up for about a good 5-yard loss. And that's all him right there. So that's going to force the Bengals to have to punt it. And we're going to see now if the Bills can try to get something going before half. Send this dude into the locker room with a little bit of confidence on a good note, on a high note. They got 59 seconds and 2 timeouts. Well, they'll probably have about 55 after this punt, depending on if there's a return or not. And 2 timeouts. Huber lets it go. And it's caught. And it's returned out to the 20. And they got 2 timeouts. And they got 46 seconds left. Let's see if they could get something going right here before the half. At least get a field goal attempt off. So I think the guy's going to be McCarron when it's all said and done, which I don't have a problem with. Peterman has been, to me, the more consistent quarterback in the preseason. But, you know, if they watch these guys in camp and in practice and McCarron's look the sharpest and they think he gives them the best chance to win, then and I like A.J. McCarron. So Allen's going to get sacked again if he don't get rid of this football. And he barely gets rid of it. And, man, he's been molested in this first half. My goodness. They still got the Bengals still have some of their starters in on the defensive line. And Dunlap almost gets the sack. And, boy, did Josh Allen take a shot there. Watch his head snap on this one. Watch his head hit the ground. Boom. Watch his head hit the ground. And he was holding his head too. His head hit the ground hard. They about to just go to halftime now. They handed off to John Miller not John Miller, excuse me, the Murphy on the handoff. And watch his head snap back and hit the ground here. Boom! And watch him put his hand on his head. Watch him put his hand on his head. Watch this. Boom! And watch him put his hand on his head. They ain't gonna roll it long enough. He put his hand on his head like, damn, that shit hurt. Look, he put his hand on his head like, ah, shit, my brain. Yeah, he's done after this, man. And the referee just took him out of the game just now. Say, hey, man, go check him out. Yeah, they buzzed down to the referee because you can see it on the replay. The man was holding his head immediately like, damn, that hurt. All right, so Peterman is going to be the second guy in, and he might play the rest of the game with AJ coming off of the injury. I don't think they're going to play AJ this week. And so they handed to Murphy again. He gets the first down. Now the Bills want to try to call a little timeout. Man, if you don't let this half run out. So Josh Allen's day is done. And you got to think that the Bills are going to – they're guys that aren't playing. Like, you don't want to overreact to the preseason. And I think we, as fans, we do this a lot. We overreact to what we see in the preseason. Trent Murphy isn't playing for the Bills, and I think he can help them get pressure on the quarterback. Kyle Williams isn't playing. It's the preseason. Obviously, you know, this is probably going to be his last season, but he can still help up front. A lot of guys are not playing. Deion Dawkins, I talked about him not playing at left tackle for the Bills, which is part of the reason they've had so many issues in today's game. They're going to be a lot better than what you're seeing in the preseason. So don't assume that the Bills are going to be just one of the worst teams because of what you've seen in the preseason. The preseason can be a bit of an indicator, but it's not the end-all, be-all. You know what I mean? We've seen teams go 4-0 in the preseason and look like world beaters and end up being a 5-11 team, man. Like, can't take preseason and just run with it. So, and again, if they get any kind of competent play from the quarterback position, that's the reason why I think they're going to struggle. Not because of what I've seen in the preseason, not because of the offensive line struggling. I think their quarterback position is in such disarray right now that that's the most important position in football. If you don't have that situation squared away and a guy that you have confidence in and you trust, how are you going to win in this league? And so that's why I don't see the Bills doing anything. I think they're going to regret allowing Tyrod Taylor to move on and trading him away. And it's funny because they were complaining about Bodine, and he's a Buffalo Bill. So it's halftime, and we're going to wrap this stream up right now. And I'll let you guys watch the second half in peace. We'll jump back into this into a stream later on tonight. At the conclusion of Cowboys-Cardinals, we'll do a Sunday night football overtime for that game, and we'll break down Cowboys and Cardinals. But I thank you guys for joining me for this stream. First half of the game, now we're going to see all the backups trickle in. And the good thing is nobody got hurt, which has been the theme of the weekend. Haven't seen too many catastrophic injuries. And that's the most important thing when you get to this portion of the preseason. Really, any part of the preseason, but when you get to week 3 of the preseason, you definitely don't want any injuries. And looks like we got away again in this game. Cordy Glenn did leave the game. Doesn't seem serious. Josh Allen just left the game. Doesn't seem serious. Again, if it's anything, it's a concussion, but I don't think he's even concussed. But nonetheless, thanks for joining me once again. I'm your man, Louie T. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.